Hello to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shea. We made it to a Thursday afternoon, and we've got some stuff going on in the tropics. So let's jump right in and talk about it. We are rolling right through this hurricane season. Fortunately for H-Town, we haven't been hit by anything of a tropical nature, but we now are up to 8 named storms so far this season, 2 of those becoming hurricanes, and those 2 hurricanes both became major hurricanes. Now, where do we stand as far as our average? Well, we've still got a ways to go before we get to average numbers. 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, 3 major hurricanes. Now remember, at the beginning of the season and back in July, the Colorado State University meteorologists issued their prediction for the season. So their last update talked about the possibility for 16 named storms, 8 of those becoming hurricanes and 3 becoming major hurricanes. So we almost have reached the major hurricane number, but we've still got a ways to go for the named storms and hurricanes. We've kind of had periods of action this hurricane season and other periods where we had pretty much not much at all. So right now we are in one of those more active periods. The tropics basically have come to life with multiple systems in the Atlantic. In fact, we do have hurricane warnings still out for all of the Azores because of Gabrielle. Now, the 4 p.m. advisory did basically reduce Gabrielle to a post-tropical system, which means it's losing tropical characteristics, but it is still very strong, and hurricane force winds are still likely for much of the Azores tonight and tomorrow. Also, we've got some other developments that could hit closer to home. The Carolinas now bracing for potential impact next week with the latest forecast models. We've got a tropical wave that could become our next named system, Tropical Storm Imelda, maybe this weekend, early next week. And the latest models kind of have that barreling right into North Carolina late Monday and Tuesday. So, we may have some tropical trouble right here in the U.S. But fortunately for Houston, nothing too concerning right now. But for the entire season, here are our 8 named storms from Andrea all the way to Humberto. And the next name on the list would be Imelda, and we could have that one pretty soon. So let's see what's happening out there. Here's a look at post-tropical cyclone Gabrielle. Notice the structure has really changed. We no longer have that well-defined eye, that circular formation, the storms around the eye wall. It's kind of become elongated, losing those tropical characteristics, but it still packs a punch. It still has very strong wind, right around hurricane force in it, and also a lot of heavy rain. So it's going to be rolling over the Azores over the next 24 hours, and that's why the hurricane warnings are out. So you can see post-tropical cyclone Gabrielle with winds sustained around 70 miles per hour, but gusts are even stronger than that, and it is just booking it to the east, racing around 31 miles per hour. So notice it's forecast to jump back up to 75 mile per hour winds as it rolls over the Azores, and then it's still fairly strong 60 mile per hour winds as it approaches parts of Spain for this weekend. So definitely a very interesting system when you look at Gabrielle, but most importantly, it's far, far, far away from the U.S., so we don't have to worry about it. But hey, if you got a vacation to Spain this weekend, maybe some wind and some rain. All right, let's get closer to home. We've got 2 systems that could potentially impact us. First, Tropical Storm Humberto, still in the central Atlantic. Looks like this one will likely pass in between the east coast of the U.S. and Bermuda, but there could still be some impacts, especially across the Carolinas. This is the one, though, I'm most concerned about. Invest 94L, currently dumping heavy rain across parts of Puerto Rico, Haiti, the Dominican Republic. It's just going to barrel right through the Bahamas this weekend, and then it kind of takes a turn up towards the Carolinas early next week. The models are kind of coming together with more agreement as to that happening. So this is something we're going to have to watch very closely. First, let's get the track of Tropical Storm Humberto. 60 mile per hour winds now, so it is getting stronger. Pressure down to 1,000 millibars, and it is tracking northwest at 6 miles per hour. So here's the Carolinas, here's Bermuda, and notice by Tuesday, even though it is a very powerful hurricane, it is going to stay west of Bermuda and likely east of the U.S. But notice it is forecast to become a major Category 3 hurricane by Monday afternoon with 120 mile per hour mile-per-hour winds. All right, here's the one I'm most concerned about. This is just a tropical wave right now over parts of the Caribbean islands, the Northeast Caribbean, but there's a very high 80 to 90% chance for development over the next 2 to 7 days. And this tropical wave near Hispaniola likely to become a tropical depression or tropical storm Imelda soon. So if you're going to be heading out to Haiti, Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, Bahamas this weekend, there will be some impacts with big waves, heavy rain, and some strong wind gusts. And like I said, it could hit the Carolinas by early next week. Water temps across the western, southwestern Atlantic, the northern Caribbean, the Gulf, still certainly warm enough to fuel these tropical systems. Those water temps well into the 80s. All right. Let's check out our Fox weather model because we've got double trouble here with Humberto and what will likely become Tropical Storm Imelda near Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So as we put this into motion hour by hour, notice Tropical Storm Humberto, soon to become Hurricane Humberto, staying farther away from the U.S. But look at this. This is likely going to be Tropical Storm Imelda by Sunday evening, and it's getting fairly close to the east coast of Florida. And as we keep going into the future, look at that. That is a direct landfall right over parts of the Carolinas, maybe into Georgia as well. So from Augusta, Georgia, over to Charleston, Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, all of these spots are going to potentially be impacted by what could be Tropical Storm Imelda, or if there's enough time, maybe even a Hurricane Imelda. Here's one more model before we wrap up. GFS Futurecast showing Humberto not becoming a huge issue for the U.S., but what will likely become Imelda once again rolling right into the Carolinas. So something to watch. We will be updating this forecast, especially as we go through the weekend, but early next week, there could be some trouble in the southeastern U.S. All right, well, that's your tropical update for today. We'll have more Texas Live and Local when we come back.